I mean, I was told by my film professor, there are films and there are movies. And sometimes you've got to know what you're walking into.
Yeah. See, but I come from a time when movies were films.
Why on earth did I decide to do a podcast episode on Meet the Robinsons? This film came out many, many years ago. Why is it even relevant today? Well, one, this film is definitely a comfort movie for me. I've been watching this film a lot growing up and definitely a lot recently. And also, two, is that it's literally me. I struggle with moving on and moving forward and moving towards the future. This film came out in 2007. It's been over a decade. It's been a very long time since this film came out, but still, I find it to be incredibly relevant for me in my life, and it is definitely a literally me kind of movie. And recently, I think that the thing that inspired me to make this episode the most is a couple different reasons. Number one has become the bigger reason out of nowhere. It was nowhere in my notes, but still, recently, TikTok is most likely getting banned. I know there's been some, false alarms here and there, but still, most likely TikTok is going away, which you may be saying, Logan, why is that sad that TikTok's going away? It distracts you. It definitely holds you back from your goals a lot. Why would you even be sad about this app going away? It's actually kind of a good thing. And I absolutely agree. This app has definitely distracted me a lot. It's definitely held me back from a lot of my goals and things that I want to do in life, but I can't because I spent an hour and a half on this dumb app that I forget about everything that I watched in 5 seconds. And that's definitely going to be the argument for a lot of different people, besides the app being very, China spyware. It's very bad in, Supreme Court sense. But still, for me, looking at the app in my perspective, the app came out, I guess, a little bit before 2020, around that time. And in 2020, that's when I first downloaded the app. And in 2020, obviously, was the coronavirus. We were locked inside. I wasn't in school, couldn't see my friends, couldn't see really anyone, besides my family. And the same four walls in my bedroom for a long time. For me, it was a pretty long time, very sad and depressing for everyone. So TikTok was this app for refuge for so many people, not even just kids, but for people who just found this space to be able to create and share and just kind of have a community and sense of belonging with this one app. I wasn't someone who made a lot of money from it. I made a few different TikToks for the podcast here. One of them did actually really good, but still, I never made a ton of money from it. It's not my job. I don't make any money from TikTok, so it's not really that sad for me. But what's sad about it is that I spent a lot of time on there, and I didn't meet new people on there. I have friends that I didn't meet on TikTok, whatever. But still, I was able to find a lot of movies on there that I would never even learned about or heard about at all, ever. Recently, I watched Hundreds of Beavers. It's this very random, wacky movie, and Hundreds of Beavers is a very good movie that I would have never really found out about if it wasn't for TikTok. I would never find out about so many incredible shows like Chernobyl if it wasn't for TikTok, or video games either if it wasn't for TikTok, or even songs, music, books, anything. I would have never really found out about a lot of these things if it wasn't for this random dumb app. It's done a lot of harm for me, but saying goodbye to it is kind of like saying goodbye to a piece of myself, which is definitely very sad, but definitely a part of life as well. And also just leading into the second reason is that it's the new year. So new year means new goals, a new kind of marking period of life. And with life, it's important that when we grow, we also have to kill our past selves. It's kind of like if you're a butterfly, you start out as a little tiny weird little worm, then you kind of go into a cocoon, and then you become a butterfly. But the butterfly is beautiful, but that old part of the caterpillar is killed and gone forever. That's kind of been the shift I've been going through recently in January and towards the new year. It's been kind of weird because I've been trying to reach back into the past. I understand the past is there for us to respect it and learn from it, but what I've been doing is not really moving forward. I've been reaching back into the past to try to find answers for myself. I've been looking too hard to try to find the answer for what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's not really the way I should be doing things at all. I understand that. And Meet the Robinsons is a film that I watch a lot because it tells me to just keep moving forward. Even when I know that I have so much potential in myself to be great, keep moving forward no matter what. That's been the entire theme around this movie. And I watch it once or twice a year because it really is important to instill that in my head, every now and then, here and again. It can get really hard and really tough and really sad, but still, it's important to keep moving forward always. So just moving on here into the main episode here, the context of 2007 when the film came out, it's a very incredibly stacked year. Looking at animation alone, let's just start there. Animation, You have the Simpsons movie, you have Surf's Up, Alvin and the Chipmunks, you have Transformers, you have Ratatouille, you have a lot of great animated films alone already in there. Then just throwing in the main live action stuff, you had, like I said, you had Superbad, you had No Country for Old Men, Zodiac, Juno, Spider-Man 3, Atonement. List goes on. A very stacked year for film and, animation alone. It's very hard to thrive in this era of filmmaking because we have a film like Ratatouille. You're doomed to fail at that point. Even Shrek the Third wasn't the best movie, but still, it's Shrek. It's going to be very big in the box office. Then looking at release and reception for the movie, the film had a budget of $150 million and it grossed $170. So this film was definitely a flop. There's no doubting that. There's no denying it. If this film wanted to break even and make a good profit, it would need to make around $375 million. Around that area would be ideal. It definitely missed that mark by a lot, so there's definitely a reason why this film has no sequel at all. People just didn't really show up for it, unfortunately. Then looking over at Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a 68% critic score and a 74% audience score. Definitely in the lower end. I'm definitely kind of leaning towards that 74% a little bit, but still, it's a pretty lower kind of Rotten Tomatoes score. A little bit surprising for me for sure. Then over on the Roger Ebert website, we usually have a review here from the GOAT, Roger Ebert, one of the best film critics of all time, of his time and of all times for generations. He's one of the GOATs ever. He did not write a review for Meet the Robinsons. It was, I guess, that kind of underwhelming for people that he didn't really go to see it, unfortunately. But still, I have 3 different reviews here from Letterboxd. This film has a 3.5 out of 5 average on there. I have 3 different reviews here that should kind of even out the, missing Roger Ebert there. So here we go. 3 random reviews here from 3 pretty grateful users. I'll make sure I leave their links down below for these 3 little reviews. Okay, so for the first little review here, I do have one here from Rhyme, who gave the film a 4.5 out of 5. And he said in his review, I've never watched this movie before, and my 24-year-old ass reacted to the big plot twist in the movie like I was watching the Super Bowl. And I definitely have to say, that sounds like me in terms of like the ADHD in my head, just like not knowing how to respond in social scenarios. That may not be Rhyme, but I saw myself in his review, so I had to start in here. Then for the second review, I have one here from Emmy, who gave the film a 5 out of 5, and they said that Goob is me because I'm so sleep deprived and I'm also evil. That's also literally me. I've been sleep deprived, but the evil part, I'm not fully there quite yet. And then for Medine with an exclamation mark, I'm not going to yell. I don't feel like yelling right now. But for Medine with the exclamation mark, she gave this film a 4.5 out of 5. And then she said in her review, bring back movies like this. This is the energy that we need in Disney/Pixar. And I definitely agree, I guess, to an extent. I know I love hearing people say that there's no good films coming out. There's no good animated films coming out. But yet when there's a film like The Boy and the Heron, they don't go see it. And, a bunch of other great, incredible films recently that have come out, people just don't go out to see it, unfortunately. Like Robot Dreams, an incredible, incredible movie. They didn't go see it. But still, it's definitely very apparent that Pixar has been on a decline recently. Their last few films have been kind of hit or miss. I know Inside Out 2 did very good, very happy for that. And Soul is one of my favorites of the decade so far. But still, Pixar is kind of in a weird spot right now to where they do need these films to have a bit of life in them. Instead of a message for Hollywood, be filled with more life for the audience, not just for kids, but for adults as well, is what films have. And specifically, Pixar movies have been known to be the movies that have not only a great film for kids that are very entertaining, but when I watch it when I'm 20 years old, I can still watch Ratatouille and still be just so infatuated by how good the movie is. So I'll make sure those reviews will be down there for you below if you want to go and read those anytime you want, or just explore more for what those 3 incredibly gifted young minds have to say about cinema. They'll be down there for you. They're some of the 3 smartest Hamlet, Shakespeare level people of our time, and they're all incredible. So please check them out down there. They're a whole lot of fun. There's some 3 really great people down there. But just going into the movie itself, Meet the Robinsons, the main kind of thing here, if you haven't seen the film for some reason, go watch it. But if you're too lazy, if you're in the car or something, then Meet the Robinsons, it's about a kid who has a time machine. He wants to go meet his mom again, but yeah, he meets his family in the future. So he finds out that life is worth looking forward to in the future. Keep him forward, blah, blah, blah. He has a villain who's his roommate. Then he kind of saves him from the big ball game, etc., etc. Just watch the movie. It's very easy, very fast, also very good. But Meet the Robinsons, great movie overall, and incredible movie. Just going over it here, what I want to explore today is mainly the two halves of the movie and how I relate to both of them and how they've both kind of just showed me the way towards living a better future without exploring the past too much, because it's just dark and bare and grim, and we're not going that way, so there's no point of looking in the past anymore. Starting with the main character, Lewis. Lewis is the main guy in the movie. I love this protagonist. Maybe I think let's throw like top 20 protagonists in Disney/Pixar of all time. That's fair to say for me. But starting off with Lewis, Lewis is a person who is just obsessed with the past, and for good reason, since his mom left him as a kid. So he's just wondering the what ifs she left. What if she stayed forever? Why did she even leave? Just constantly thinking about the past for so long. And I love that the movie opens with the original, his mom leaving him there, because I think as the audience, we get a chance to be in the eyes of Lewis and have that be our first thought of the movie. It's going to continue on throughout the entire movie of that one single sequence. And it's going to be an effective way to make us care about what he cares about, and not doing a way that's too forceful, but in a way that's a little bit more soothing. There was a quote from a guy, I don't know who he was, I forgot already, but it was a quote that said, your first thought of the day is either the cause of your happiness or the cause of your pain. And that's definitely very apparent here. Lewis thinks about his mom leaving him every single day when he wakes up. And that's what we're given in the movie. As soon as we start it, the very first scene of the movie is that, which gives us that perspective that's definitely very needed. But it's important to see his obsession of the past as the way that he thinks will give him the sense of belonging and purpose. He thinks that when he meets his mom, it'll all be figured out forever. He'll have everything all figured out. They can be a family again, etc., etc. That's the missing piece. But he doesn't understand that he needs to get out of the past and look to the future instead of chasing the past for really no reason. Also, another quote from Tony Robbins. He was in a podcast the other day with, what's his name? Modern Wisdom. Great podcast, by the way. But they were talking about how you should stop focusing on what's missing and start focusing on what you have more, because if you focus on what's missing, you're kind of missing the point. I know, a very bad dad joke. I can hear the 5 listeners dropping off right now, but if you're still here for whatever reason, that's also very apparent to me, to stop going backwards because we're not going that way. There's no reason to go backwards these days anymore. This is more so me just trying to convince myself of that over anything else, and it's definitely very true. It's also very hard not to just look back, because most of the day is just us kind of sitting there internal monologuing for just whatever different reason, and in our thoughts just stay moments of the past that we can't really do anything with besides look at and obsess over for no reason at all. And as easy as it is for Lewis to just stay in the past and stay in one single spot and say singularity and static forever, just wanting to chase the past and his mom forever, he learns that what he needs to do is keep moving forward, because that's where your belonging and purpose lie, not wherever you were 5 or 10 months ago or years ago, for that matter. I'll admit that I fall victim to reminiscing of the past and think about the past too much, and just kind of even 2 or 3 years after the event happened, still think to myself what I could have done better, what I should have done better, and how I can be better in the future because of it. But most of it is just very toxic and just self-sabotage for what you really can be. I do think it's important to respect the past and respect what happened previously to be better. But there's a difference between respecting the past of what happened and then obsessing over that one very bad time your friend said X or Y to you, which is definitely not very nice, but still obsessing over it won't change anything. You can respect it to put forward in your new life and you'll learn a lesson from it, but obsessing over it isn't going to change anything. We're all going to die one day, and in a generation or two, you're going to be forgotten forever. All your thoughts and dreams and memories will be lost in time and space forever, which you can't do anything about at all whatsoever. So the best thing to do is to A, respect the past, but to B, also just embrace the future of what's to come, because what's to come is better than what's behind you for sure. Maybe, I hope. I don't even know. But still, that's what's great about it. That's what's great about life, and what's bad about it is that we don't really know. All we do know, in the famous words of Master Oogway, is that yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today is a gift. That's what makes it the present, which I know isn't what I want to hear at all these days, but still, it's important to instill that in myself. I know I'm very hard-headed, but it's important to remember these things, because if I don't, I'll be doomed forever. Like how with our other character of Goob, the other half of this film is a character who is literally doomed forever because he couldn't stop obsessing over the past, and instead of moving forward, he decided to obsess and stay in the past and just loathe over all the hatred and anger, and it turned him into a villain for no reason. Goob was a great kid who just had a very bad and sad and tragic event, but didn't really move forward in the right way. It is true that, yes, physically, Goob moved forward through life and through adulthood, but he never moved on from the pain of that one sad day of missing a baseball catch and decided to ruin his entire life because of that one sad and tragic event. And yes, we can blame that it was all that random spiky-head, blonde-haired kid's fault for staying up all night on his invention, but still, it doesn't really matter anymore. It's in the past. Unfortunately, it happened, but still, there's nothing you can really do about it. Just like Lewis told Goob, when he told him that you only focus on the bad stuff, when all you had to do was let the past go and keep moving forward, instead of staying here in your orphanage as a child and then staying there forever to do nothing but sit there and hate on others for their own success instead of building your own. When he focused on the past and getting revenge, he forgot to live and lost so many years of his life on nothing. That's all you can really gain from looking forward to the past is nothing from that. It already happened before. It's not going to change by you just sitting obsessing over it for years and months to come. And we know this by the end of the movie being, I think, one of the saddest moments is when he sits there, Lewis is looking at his journal, then he has all these little check marks of his life, but except for one single small little question mark box of when he's accomplished all this revenge, he has nothing left because revenge is really nothing at the end of the day. Vengeance is nothing and you gain nothing from it, like we see with Goob. The only thing he has left after chasing revenge in the past is an empty future, which is what none of us really want from that. And as Goggins and Batman will probably say to you, yes, you can use your past and revenge as fuel to fuel you towards your goals and your training, but still, as we saw in the Batman, how vengeance can't change the past and loathing over it won't change what happened to you. Yes, Lewis lost his mom at a young age, and he definitely will never meet her again, but at the end of the day, that was very sad, but he chose to move on, and now he has a new family with a very big, massive house with an octopus and a dinosaur. So that's a very cool little life there to live. And then with Goob, instead of chasing the future and letting that one small baseball game moment go to waste, he instead decided to look towards the past and looking towards revenge and vengeance, which led to nothing but an empty, soulless future filled with nothing but thoughts and what-ifs and really nothing to gain from getting his final vengeance at the end of the movie. So what did we learn from Meet the Robinsons? Or better, what did I learn from this movie and from this experience of writing this whole entire thing? I'll just say them out now, a brand new segment here. What did I learn from blank movie? The first one obviously being, keep moving forward. If you're not moving forward, you're moving back for no reason towards nothing because it's already gone and forgotten about. For the other few little lessons here that I learned, I'll just say them out here with no real context involved. The first little lesson that I learned is that pressure to get everything right is okay. And number 2, I do have be the person you need in your life. Number 3 is appreciate what you have instead of chasing what already happened. Those are my 3 little lessons I learned from this movie. Definitely 3 pretty good lessons, I'd say myself. And ones that I'm definitely using a lot more in life that are definitely very essential as I try to move forward instead of chasing back memories and random little nits and pieces of what already happened. My final score for Meet the Robinsons is a definitely B+, I'll say for right now. It's an 8 out of 10, B+. That may change in the future. I may go to 4.5 out of 5 when I watch it again. But for now, that's where it stands, a B+. That can change, but for now, that's where it's sitting. Definitely very fair. And the very last thing today, I do have our superlatives, which is under construction right now. Pardon my dust. I'm, new year. It's time to kind of make some adjustments to things like the intro, outro, the segments here. I want to make them better. So superlatives is under construction. Usually we have like favorite quote and all that, but that's all under construction. I'm trying to find some newer, fun ways to do the outros here. But for now, I do have our Buzz from the Backlot and MVP, the 2 main categories of this whole little segment. You might be asking yourself, what is Buzz from the Backlot? It's just film fun facts. Relax. It's all cool. All Gucci. This may change too, but for now, we're keeping the film fun facts. It's a whole lot of fun. Then MVP is obviously MVP. Pretty self-explanatory. But for the first thing, Buzz from the Backlot, I do have the part of Lewis and Wilbur had to be recast when the original actor's voice broke mid-production. And this is a fun fact that I did kind of sense when I watched the movie. And then it's just so weird that they had to change the actors in the middle of the movie. It's just crazy to me. It's not like noticeable that much, except for like a few little moments, but still insane. It's actually kind of crazy. Never heard this happen before ever in a movie that the character's voice broke mid-production, so they had to change him out there, then and there. Kind of weird, but whatever. Fun fact number 2, this is the first Walt Disney animation movie to not be released on VHS. Definitely a very big milestone. Also kind of a sad one. Definitely very sad about that. Then for our last and final fun fact, Jim Carrey had a choice of voicing the bowler hat guy or to play Walter Sparrow in the film The Number 23 from 2007, later that same year, and he chose the latter. Definitely very understandable. But imagine Jim Carrey in the role of the bowler hat guy. That role was kind of made for him. You can definitely tell by looking at that fun fact and looking at the movie. He was made for the bowler hat guy role. The guy did a great job in the movie, but still, it's the big what if. What if that happened? Who knows? What if Derrick Rose was a great basketball player, he didn't get injured? What if Jim Carrey voiced bowler hat guy? We'll never know, unfortunately. And then for the MVP, I do have the one, the only, the GOAT herself, Angela Bassett. She's in the movie for not that long a time, but still, she's incredible. I just love her in like anything really. But Angela Bassett, definitely like for female actors, she's like, I'd say, let's say like top 20, top 25 favorite actors of all time. Angela Bassett, she's very good at what she does. Love her a whole lot. She should have won an Oscar, but the Academy Awards is not that kind sometimes, so she'll have a Court of Cinema award. We're going to mail it out to her pretty soon here. Definitely very deserving of it. But with that being said, that just about wraps it for today. We're all done here. Very quick little episode. I wanted this to be the first benchmark kind of flagship episode for the year. I didn't want to wait too long to get into this movie. I've been wanting to do this one for a very long time. The film speaks for itself. Go watch it again, really. I know you probably already saw it. You definitely already have, but still, watch the movie again. I wanted to do also kind of like a palate cleanser before I go into a whole lot of trash movies in the Fantastic Four. We're going through Fantastic Four, then Silver Surfer, then futuristic. I hope that you give me all of your prayers tonight because I'll need it for the next coming weeks. The last one was X-Men. Didn't go good at all in the later half of that. And this time around, it won't go good for 3 weeks in a row, most likely. I hope that at least one of these films is good, but we'll have to see. The Super Bowl's coming. Most likely we're going to get Fantastic Four show at that time. So I'm just going to be kind of rolling into these every single Friday until that day comes for the Super Bowl. And that last Fantastic will be awful, but I'll be here to do them, unfortunately. It's my job. I signed up for it. I signed a contract, so I can't go anywhere now, unfortunately. But until then, stay swagged out, stay cool, follow us everywhere. On TikTok, I guess if you want, if you're overseas, sure. We're not going to be posting there much longer, but, still go over there if you want to. Until then, stay swagged out, stay cool, watch more films, watch Meet the Robinsons again, and I'm your host, Logan. I'll see you boys in the movies.
Shine that light on me. I'll sit and tell you about stories.